What happens when a pair of desperate elephants, battling hunger, danger, and the relentless forces of nature, embark on a perilous journey for survival? Watch as they fight against all odds, finding hope and new life in an unexpected sanctuary. In the vast and untamed grasslands of southern Africa, a pair of elephants roamed freely, living their lives without restrictions. The male and female elephants had spent many years together, traveling through the savanna, foraging for food, and crossing rivers. Life had once been good, but as time passed, the environment began to change. The rains became less frequent, the water holes they once relied on dried up, and the abundance of prey slowly disappeared. The changing climate made survival increasingly difficult. The two elephants, tired and worn by the harsh conditions, realized they could no longer stay in their familiar territory. It was no longer safe for them to remain in the area they had known for so long. The male elephant, strong and protective, sensed the growing dangers around them. He knew they needed to leave and find a new place to live. After careful consideration, the decision was made. They would embark on a long journey to find a safer, more abundant place to call home. With the sun setting behind them, they began their journey, slowly moving across the vast savanna. They traveled hundreds of kilometers, moving at a steady pace, but the road ahead was full of challenges. The scorching sun beat down on their backs, and their bodies, though mighty, were starting to feel the toll of the journey. Hunger and thirst gnawed at them, but they pressed on. The female elephant, though strong, grew weary, often stumbling slightly as she followed her partner. Yet, she never faltered in her determination. The male kept a close eye on her, ensuring that no predators or dangers crept too near. The journey was not an easy one. As the days passed, their path led them through unfamiliar territories. They faced predators lurking in the shadows, eager to take advantage of their exhaustion. One evening, as they were moving through a dense thicket, a group of lions emerged from the tall grass. The male elephant immediately positioned himself between the lions and his mate, his massive tusks gleaming in the dim light. He let out a deep, rumbling trumpet, warning the predators to stay away. The lions, sensing the power and determination in the elephant's stance, hesitated, but one of them, a young and hungry lioness, made a bold move, attempting to charge. The male elephant was quick to react, using his strong trunk to swat at the lioness, sending her tumbling back into the tall grass. The other lions, intimidated by the powerful display of strength, decided it was better to retreat. The pair of elephants stood their ground, their hearts racing from the encounter, but they were unharmed. They continued their journey, knowing the dangers of the wild were never far behind. Weeks passed, and the two elephants ventured further and further into unknown territory. Their bodies grew weaker, but their resolve remained strong. They crossed mountains, rivers, and valleys, navigating through a world that seemed both alien and yet familiar. Despite the challenges, they pushed forward, driven by the instinct to survive and find a place where they could thrive once more. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they reached the edge of a great reserve, Makado National Park. It was known for its vast grasslands and rich ecosystems, a sanctuary that had long been protected from the harsh changes of the outside world. The air was fresh, the land seemed to stretch endlessly before them, and the scent of water was in the air. For the first time in what felt like ages, the elephants stood still, taking in the new surroundings. The female elephant, her eyes tired but full of hope, looked at her partner. They had made it. But as they began to explore their new surroundings, they soon realized that this place, though a haven, was not without its own challenges. There were patrol cars, fences, and other signs of human presence that they could not fully understand. Yet, despite the unfamiliar sights and sounds, the elephants remained determined. They needed this place. It was their last chance for survival. The elephants slowly acclimated to their new surroundings in Makado National Park, but their journey was far from over. The vast reserve, rich with life and opportunities, had become their refuge, but it came with its own set of challenges. While the grasslands were plentiful, there were still risks, and the elephants could sense the presence of humans nearby. Despite the feeling of safety in the park, the female elephant's condition grew increasingly noticeable. Her belly was swelling, and her movements were slower, more deliberate. It became clear to Sio and Namsa, the two park rangers who had been monitoring the reserve, that she was pregnant. The news of the pregnancy filled the two rangers with hope. The park was a sanctuary for many species, but the arrival of a new elephant calf would be a momentous event, not only for the elephants, but also for the park's conservation efforts. Both CCO and Namsa had worked in Makado for many years, and this was a rare and exciting opportunity to witness the birth of a new life in the wild. They carefully observed the elephants from a distance, documenting their behavior and monitoring the female's condition. The male elephant, ever protective, seemed to stay closer to his mate, always on alert and watching over her with unwavering devotion. As the weeks passed, the female's condition became more urgent. CCIO and Namsa could see the changes in her posture and the way she moved. She was heavy with child, and every step seemed more labored. The rangers knew that the birth was imminent, but they also understood that in the wild, complications could arise, and the safety of both mother and calf was not guaranteed. They decided to prepare themselves for any situation, making sure they had the necessary medical supplies on hand in case of an emergency. The day came when the female elephant could no longer hide the signs of labor. She began to show clear signs of distress, moving in circles, her breath coming in heavy, labored gasps. The male elephant, Kota, remained close, occasionally nudging her with his trunk, as though trying to comfort her. But the female's pain intensified, and the rangers knew they had to act quickly. The situation was growing more critical by the minute. CCIO, with his years of experience in the field, knew that elephants rarely required human intervention during birth. However, in this case, the female was struggling. Her body trembled, and there was a dangerous stillness that had fallen over her. Namsa, with a deep knowledge of animal behavior, recognized the seriousness of the situation. If the birth wasn't assisted soon, the female might not survive. But they faced a difficult dilemma. How could they approach the elephants without frightening them, especially the protective male, Kota? As the tension in the air thickened, Chio made the decision to move closer, signaling Namsa to follow. The male elephant, standing a few meters away, let out a low rumble of warning, his tusks gleaming in the fading light. His large frame cast a shadow over the female, who was now on her side, panting heavily. Chiayo and Namsa proceeded cautiously, moving slowly, ensuring that their movements were calm and non-threatening. At that moment, Kota stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the rangers. He growled, showing his protective instincts, but did not charge. CCO knew this was their only chance to help. He nodded at Namsa, and together they approached, speaking in soothing tones. Namsa held a syringe filled with a special medication that could assist the female with the birthing process. CCO, positioning himself at a safe distance from the male, kept his eyes locked on Kota, ready to react at any sign of aggression. As they neared the female, CCO gently laid a hand on her side, speaking softly. The female's eyes flickered with recognition, and slowly she allowed them to come closer. Kota continued to watch from a distance, tense but not aggressive. With careful precision, Namsa administered the medication to the female elephant, hoping it would ease her pain and help her deliver the calf safely. Time seemed to stretch on as the elephant stood motionless in the fading light of the savanna. After what felt like an eternity, the female elephant gave a final, powerful push, and a small, trembling calf emerged into the world. The birth was difficult, but with the ranger's timely intervention, the calf was born healthy. The mother, exhausted but relieved, reached out with her trunk to gently touch her newborn. Kota, ever the protective father, approached slowly, his trunk moving with tenderness as he inspected his new calf. He nudged the little one, helping it to stand on shaky legs. The female elephant, Leia, let out a soft trumpeting call, as if celebrating the birth of her young. It was a moment of pure joy, a new life brought into the world amidst the beauty of Makado National Park. CIO and Namsa watched from a distance, their hearts full of pride. They had witnessed a miracle, a new life in the wild, made possible by their quick thinking and care. The calf, named Mosi, which meant new beginning, stood on its legs, wobbling but alive, its tiny trunk reaching out for its mother's warmth. The rangers knew they had done something remarkable. As they quietly stepped back, giving the family space, they couldn't help but feel a deep sense of fulfillment. The elephants had survived, and a new chapter had begun.